Dr. Elena Martinez stared at the computer screen in disbelief. The signals coming through the global communication array were unlike anything she had ever seen. For 20 years she had been listening to space, hoping to find proof that Earth was not alone in the universe. Now at 3 in the morning on a cold Tuesday in Nevada, that proof was flashing across her monitors. "This cannot be right," she whispered to herself, adjusting her glasses and leaning closer to the screen. The patterns were too organized to be natural. It's too complex to be random. Someone or something was trying to talk to Earth. Elena's hand shook as she reached for her phone. She dialed the emergency number that she had memorized, but never thought she would use. "Commander Sullivan, this is Dr. Martinez at the array. You need to get here now. We have contact." 40 minutes later, Commander Jake Sullivan burst through the doors of the communication center. His uniform was wrinkled, and his hair was messy from being woken up in the middle of the night. Behind him came Dr. Alex Chen, the quantum physics expert who lived just 10 minutes away from the base. "Show me what you have," Sullivan said, his voice steady despite the situation. Elena pointed to the main screen. The signals started coming in at 2:47 a.m. "They are clearly artificial. Look at these patterns. This is not noise from space. This is a message." Dr. Chen studied the data carefully. "Frequency is perfect. Too perfect. 8. And the mathematical sequences. Elena, this is definitely from an intelligent source." For the next 6 hours, the 3 scientists worked without stopping. They ran every test they could think of. They checked and double-checked their equipment. But the conclusion was always the same. Someone was trying to communicate with Earth. At 9 in the morning, President Lisa Thompson arrived by helicopter. She had been briefed during the flight, but seeing the data in person was different. The leader of the most powerful nation on Earth felt very small as she looked at proof that humanity was not alone. "Can we understand what they are saying?" she asked. Elena nodded. "We are starting to." The signals contain mathematical concepts that are universal. They are teaching us their language step by step. It is actually quite brilliant. As the day went on, more experts arrived. Linguists, mathematicians, military officers, and scientists from around the world gathered at the Nevada facility. The news was kept secret from the public, but word was spreading quickly through government channels. By evening, the first clear message came through. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet of the star you call Sol. We are representatives of the Galactic Protectorate. We have been watching your world with great interest." The room fell silent as Elena read the translated message aloud. Everyone understood that this moment would be remembered forever. This was the day that changed everything. The messages continued to arrive over the next few hours. The aliens introduced themselves as peaceful beings from many different worlds. They had formed an alliance called the Galactic Protectorate thousands of years ago. Their mission was to help younger civilizations grow and develop safely. "We have observed your species for some time," the next message read. "You have shown remarkable progress in recent centuries. You have split the atom, traveled to your moon, and begun to understand the nature of the universe. However, your world faces great dangers that you cannot yet comprehend." Dr. Chen looked worried. "What kind of dangers are they talking about?" The answer came in the next transmission. "There are hostile species in this galaxy. They seek out developing worlds like yours. They consume resources, enslave populations, and destroy civilizations. Many promising species have been lost to these threats. We call them the Devourers." President Thompson leaned forward. "And they want to protect us from these Devourers." The alien message continued as if answering her question. "The Galactic Protectorate offers your world membership in our alliance. We will provide you with advanced technology that will solve your energy problems forever. We will share medical knowledge that will end disease and extend life. We'll give you the tools to repair your damaged environment and feed your growing population." Elena translated quickly as new data streamed in. "They are sending detailed information about the technologies they are offering. Faster-than-light travel, fusion power, medical nanobots, atmospheric processors. This is incredible." "And in return," Commander Sullivan asked. The next message was clear. "In return, your world will accept our protection and guidance." We'll follow the development protocols that have been successfully used on hundreds of worlds. You will contribute to the defense of the galaxy against the hostile forces that threaten all peaceful civilizations." The room buzzed with excited conversation. The offer seemed almost too good to be true. It's an end to war, poverty, disease, and environmental destruction. All of humanity's problems could be solved overnight. President Thompson called for silence. "What is the timeline for this decision?" "You have 30 of your days to consider our offer," came the reply. "This is more time than we usually provide. But we understand that your species values deliberation. However, we must warn you that unprotected worlds often face unfortunate encounters with hostile forces. The galaxy is not safe for those who stand alone." Over the next week, world leaders met in emergency sessions. United Nations convened the largest assembly in its history, and scientists analyzed every piece of data the aliens had provided. Experts studied the threat assessments about the Devourers. Most governments were ready to accept immediately. The benefits were obvious, and the risks of refusal seemed enormous. Why would anyone turn down such an ungenerous offer? But Dr. Elena Martinez was troubled. She spent long nights studying the alien communications, looking for something she could not quite identify. The language patterns bothered her. The word choices seemed odd in subtle ways. "There is something wrong with their grammar," she told Dr. Chen one evening. "The way they structure their sentences when they talk about other protected worlds. It is like they are being very careful about what they say." "What do you mean?" Chen asked. "They mention hundreds of worlds that have joined the Protectorate, but they never give specific examples. When I ask direct questions about these other civilizations, their answers are always vague." Alina brought her concerns to President Thompson, who was preparing Earth's official response. The president listened carefully to the linguist's worries. "Think they are lying to us?" Thompson asked. "I think they are not telling us the whole truth," Alina replied. "A species advanced enough to travel between stars and form a galactic alliance would have more detailed information about their member worlds, lest they have reasons to keep that information secret." President Thompson considered this carefully. The weight of speaking for all humanity pressed down on her shoulders. Every leader on Earth was waiting for her response. The aliens were waiting. The future of the human race hung in the balance. But Elena's questions had planted seeds of doubt. If the aliens were truly benevolent protectors, why were they so secretive about the details of their protection? Why was the offer structured to require such a quick decision? Why had they been watching Earth without making contact until now? The president made her decision. On the 7th day after first contact, President Thompson stood before the communication array. Representatives from every nation on Earth watched as she prepared to give humanity's answer to the Galactic Protectorate. The alien message had been clear and detailed. The offer was generous beyond imagination. The benefits were obvious to everyone. The risks of refusal had been carefully explained. Any rational species would accept such terms immediately. President Thompson looked directly into the camera that would transmit humanity's response across the galaxy. She thought about all the discussions, all the analysis, all the careful consideration that had brought them to this moment. Then she spoke the single word that would shock the Galactic Protectorate and change the course of galactic history.
"Why?"
The silence that followed President Thompson's question lasted for 3 full minutes. Everyone in the communications center held their breath, waiting for the alien response. Dr. Elena Martinez watched her screens carefully, wondering if their single word had ended humanity's chance at joining the galactic community. When the reply finally came, the confusion in the message was clear even through the translation software. "We do not understand your question. The benefits of protection are obvious. The dangers of remaining unprotected are severe. What additional information do you require?" President Thompson looked at Alina, who nodded encouragingly. The president leaned toward the microphone again. "We want to understand why you are offering us protection. What do you gain from helping us? Why do you care about Earth?" Another long silence followed. This time, it lasted nearly 10 minutes. Dr. Alex Chen checked the communication equipment twice to make sure they had not lost contact. Finally, the aliens responded. We are a peaceful alliance dedicated to helping younger species develop safely. The satisfaction of preserving life and advancing civilization is our reward. Surely you understand the value of helping others. Dr. Marcus Webb arrived at the facility. The next morning, the historian had been called in to provide perspective on Earth's situation. He set up his workspace in a corner of the main communication room and began studying every message the aliens had sent. This reminds me of something, Webb told Alina, as he reviewed the translated conversations. Throughout human history, whenever a more powerful group offered protection to a weaker one, there was always a price. Sometimes that price was not mentioned until much later. Captain Amy Foster from Space Force Intelligence joined the growing team of experts. Her job was to analyze the military and security aspects of the alien offer. She spent hours studying the information about the mysterious devourers. The threat assessment is strange, Foster reported to President Thompson during their evening briefing. The aliens describe these devourers as a major danger to developing worlds, but they provide very few specific details about their capabilities, their methods, or their origins. Director Ryan Clark had been put in charge of Earth's newly formed Xenological Studies Department. His team was responsible for learning everything possible about alien civilizations and their intentions. Clark was a careful man who had spent his career studying deception and misdirection in international relations. I want to know more about these other protected worlds, Clark announced to his team. If the Galactic Protectorate has been successfully protecting hundreds of civilizations for thousands of years, they should have plenty of examples to share with us. Alina spent the next several days carefully crafting questions for the aliens. Each message was designed to gather specific information about the Protectorate's history and methods. Can you tell us about the first world you protected? Alina asked through the communication array. What was their civilization like before and after joining your alliance? The alien response was disappointingly vague. The Xerians of the Tau system were a promising species facing extinction from resource depletion and hostile neighbors. Under our protection, they now live in peace and prosperity. What specific technologies did you provide to the Xerians? Lena followed up. How has their society changed since joining the Protectorate? We provided sustainable energy solutions and defensive capabilities appropriate to their development level. Their society has evolved to focus on harmony and growth rather than conflict and competition. Dr. Webb looked up from his notes. That is not really an answer. They are using general terms instead of specific examples. Alina tried a different approach. We would like to speak directly with representatives from some of your protected worlds. Learning from their experiences would help us make an informed decision. This time, the delay before the alien response was even longer. When it came, the tone seemed slightly different. Direct communication between developing worlds is not part of our standard protocols, else such contact can lead to confusion and interference. With natural development patterns, we assure you that all protected worlds are content with their situation. Captain Foster raised an eyebrow. Why would they not want their success stories to speak for themselves? If I was trying to convince someone to join my alliance, I would let them talk to my happiest members. The questions continued for days. Each alien response revealed less information than the previous one. Dr. Chen noticed that the aliens were becoming increasingly impatient with Earth's persistent inquiries. Most species require only basic information about our protection services, one message stated. Your continued questioning suggests a lack of trust that is unusual and concerning. Lena felt a chill when she read that response. They are not used to being questioned. That tells us something important about how their other recruitment processes have gone. Director Clark decided to take a more direct approach. We need specific information about the Devourers, he instructed Alina to ask. What do they look like? Where do they come from? How do their attacks typically unfold? When was the last time they attacked a protected world? The alien response to these questions was the most evasive yet. The Devourers are a nomadic threat that appears without warning. Their methods vary depending on the target world. Protected worlds do not experience such attacks because our defensive measures are effective. But what do these defensive measures actually involve? Lena pressed. Do you station fleets in protected systems? Do you provide weapons to member worlds? Do you have early warning systems? Our defensive strategies are complex and adapted to each world's specific needs. The details are not necessary for your decision. What matters is that protection is effective and complete. Dr. Webb slammed his hand on his desk. This is exactly what I was worried about. They are avoiding every specific question. It's like they have prepared generic answers for everything. Over the following week, Alina and her team tried dozens of different approaches to get concrete information. They asked about trade between protected worlds, about cultural exchanges, about scientific cooperation. Every answer was vague and unsatisfying. The aliens began to show signs of frustration with Earth's questioning. Their messages became shorter and less patient. Your species demonstrates an unusual reluctance to accept beneficial assistance, one message stated. Most civilizations recognize the value of protection and guidance from more advanced societies. President Thompson called a meeting with all the experts. The room was filled with tension as everyone shared their findings. They were hiding something, Alina reported. Every question we ask about their methods, their history, or their other protected worlds gets deflected or ignored, Captain Foster agreed. The information about the Devourers makes no sense. If this threat is as serious as they claim, they should have detailed intelligence about enemy capabilities and tactics. Dr. Webb presented his historical analysis. Throughout Earth's history, whenever someone offered protection without being asked, they usually wanted something in return. The fact that they will not tell us what they get out of this arrangement is a major red flag. Director Clark had the most disturbing news. My team has been analyzing the timing and method of their first contact. They approached us right after our Mars colonies became self-sufficient, and our lunar mining operations started producing rare metals. That timing might not be coincidental. President Thompson listened to all the reports before making her decision. We need more time and more information before we can give them a final answer. Alina composed the message carefully. We appreciate your offer of protection and the benefits you have described. However, we need additional information before we can make such an important decision for our entire species. Can you provide us with more specific details about your protection methods and the experiences of other member worlds? The alien response came quickly this time, and it carried a new tone that made everyone in the room uncomfortable. You continued. Delay in accepting our protection is putting your world at risk. Unprotected civilizations often attract the attention of hostile forces. It would be unfortunate if Earth experienced such attention while still vulnerable. Alina read the message aloud, and everyone understood the implication. The aliens had just delivered their first threat, disguised as a warning. They are getting tired of our questions, Captain Foster observed, and they are starting to pressure us with fear tactics. President Thompson stood up slowly. Then I think we have our real answer about their intentions. Keep asking questions. If they are legitimate protectors, they will be patient with our need to understand if they are not. She did not need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the room understood that Earth might be facing something much more dangerous than the mysterious Devourers. Dr. Sophie Blake had spent her entire career studying animal behavior, but she had never analyzed aliens before. President Thompson had asked her to join the team after the Galactic Protectorate's first veiled threat. At the communication patterns and figure out what the aliens were really thinking. They are lying, Blake announced at the morning briefing 3 days later. Not about everything, but about important things. The way they structure their responses shows classic signs of deception. General Peter Hayes leaned forward in his chair. The military leader had been skeptical of the aliens from the beginning. What kind of signs? Blake pulled up her analysis on the main screen. When they talk about helping other worlds, they use very general language. But when they talk about threats and dangers, they become much more specific. This pattern usually indicates that someone is comfortable talking about things they control, but uncomfortable discussing things they cannot control. Dr. Carlos Rivera had been working on a different angle. The economist had spent weeks studying what would happen to Earth if they accepted the alien technology. His conclusions were deeply troubling. Energy systems they are offering would make us completely dependent on them, Rivera reported. The fusion reactors require a rare isotope that only exists in certain star systems. The medical nanobots need regular updates and maintenance that only they can provide. Even their food production technology relies on genetic templates that must be refreshed every few years. Elena Martinez looked up from her translation work. So if we accepted their help, we could never leave their alliance. Exactly, Rivera confirmed. Once we became dependent on their technology, we would have no choice but to follow their rules forever. The situation became more complicated when Zara Johnson, an investigative journalist, somehow obtained classified information about the alien contact. Her story appeared on news websites around the world before the government could stop it. The public reaction was immediate and intense. Protests erupted in major cities worldwide. Some people demanded that Earth accept the alien offer immediately. Others insisted that humanity should reject any outside help. The divisions were deep and growing deeper every day. We are protecting Earth. Demonstrators chanted outside the White House. Accept the aliens now. Counter-protesters across the street shouted back, Earth for humans, no alien control. President Thompson found herself caught between public pressure and her growing concerns about the aliens' true intentions. The Galactic Protectorate was not helping the situation with their increasingly threatening messages. We have observed the civil unrest on your world, their latest communication stated. This instability demonstrates why younger civilizations require guidance from more advanced societies. Social chaos is often a precursor to the kind of vulnerability that attracts hostile attention. General Hayes did not like the implications of that message. They're watching our news broadcasts and our internet. They know exactly what is happening here, and they are using our own divisions against us. Alina had made a breakthrough in her analysis of the alien language patterns. She discovered that some of their earlier messages contained references to other worlds that were no longer mentioned in current communications. Look at this, she showed the team. In their first week of messages, they mentioned specific worlds, like Kepler 438 BNHD, 40,307 grams as examples of successful protection. But when I ask about these worlds now, they say they cannot discuss individual cases for security reasons. Dr. Blake studied the pattern. That is consistent with someone trying to hide information they accidentally revealed earlier. Captain, Amy Foster had been working with intelligence agencies around the world to gather more information about the mysterious devourers. What she found made everyone uncomfortable. The timeline does not make sense, Foster reported. According to the aliens, the devourers have been a major threat for thousands of years. But there is no evidence of any major stellar engineering projects. So no signs of massive space battles, no refugee populations fleeing from destroyed worlds. If there was really a galactic war going on, we should be able to detect some evidence of it with our telescopes. Director Ryan Clark had the most disturbing news of all. His team had been monitoring alien communications more carefully, using equipment that the Galactic Protectorate did not know Earth possessed. We have intercepted messages that were not intended for us, Clark announced quietly. The aliens are talking to each other about Earth, and what they are saying is very different from what they are telling us. He played the intercepted transmission through the room's speakers. Even though it was in the alien language, Elena's translation software could decode most of it. The third planet species continues to resist standard integration protocols. This level of questioning is unprecedented. Recommend escalation to Phase 2 intimidation measures if cooperation is not achieved within 10 solar cycles. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. The aliens had standard procedures for this process. Earth was not there. First recruitment attempt, and they had backup plans if their initial approach failed. Phase 2 intimidation measures, General Hayes repeated grimly. That does not sound like something peaceful protectors would discuss. Lena worked frantically to decode more of the intercepted messages. What she found painted a picture that was very different from the benevolent alliance the aliens claimed to represent. They are talking about resource extraction schedules, Alina reported with growing horror. They have already divided up Earth's rare metal deposits among different Protectorate members. They are discussing which parts of our population would be most suitable for various types of work. Dr. Rivera's economic analysis suddenly made more sense. They are not offering to help us. They are planning to harvest us. The intercepted communications revealed the true nature of the Galactic Protectorate. They were not protectors, but exploiters who used sophisticated psychological manipulation to gain control over developing worlds. The process was refined through thousands of years of practice. The protected worlds are not partners, Alina translated. From another message, they are resource farms. The inhabitants are kept healthy and productive, but they have no real freedom or independence. Blake analyzed more of the alien behavioral patterns in light of this new information, the Devourers. They keep warning us about, I think the Devourers are them. They use the threat of their own military forces to scare worlds into accepting protection. Captain Foster studied the tactical implications. So when they say unprotected worlds often face attacks from hostile forces, they mean they attack worlds that refuse to join their system. The evidence was overwhelming, but President Thompson knew that the public would find it hard to believe. The alien offer still seemed attractive to many people who were struggling with poverty, disease, and environmental problems. We need proof that other worlds can understand, Thompson decided. Intercepted communications might not be enough to convince everyone. Dr. Chen had an idea. What if we could contact one of these protected worlds directly? If we could talk to someone who has lived under protectorate control, we might get the truth about what protection really means. Alina worked with Chen to develop a way to send messages directly to other star systems without going through the Galactic Protectorate's communication network. It was dangerous because the aliens would eventually detect their unauthorized transmissions, but it might be their only chance to learn the truth. Their first successful contact came from a world 47 light-years away. The message was brief and terrifying. Do not trust them. They came to us with the same promises 50 years ago. Our world is dying. Our people are slaves. They call it protection, but it is prison. Save yourselves while you still can. As more intercepted messages were decoded, the full scope of the Protectorate's deception became clear. They had been observing Earth for over 200 years, waiting for humanity to develop enough to be worth harvesting. The timing of their contact was not coincidental. They had been waiting for Earth to reach a specific level of technological and social development. General Hayes began preparing military contingency plans, though everyone knew that Earth's weapons would be no match for technology advanced enough to cross interstellar space. They gave us 30 days to make a decision, Thompson reminded everyone. We have used 23 of those days, asking questions and learning the truth. Now we have 7 days to figure out how to save our world. The Galactic Protectorate's latest message showed that their patience was running out. Your continued delay endangers not only your own world, but the stability of this entire stellar region. The forces that threaten unprotected civilizations. Do not wait for convenient timing. We strongly advise immediate acceptance of our protection services. Alina looked at the message and felt a chill. They are preparing to attack us. The question is whether we will be ready when they come. Dr. Ben Carter had not slept in 3 days. The quantum physicist was working around the clock to finish Earth's most important project. With only 7 days left before the alien deadline, his team was racing to build an independent communication, a system that could reach other worlds without the Galactic Protectorate knowing about it. The breakthrough came from studying their own technology, Carter explained to President Thompson during an emergency briefing. They use quantum entanglement for instant communication across space. We figured out how to create our own version using Earth materials. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Mitchell was coordinating with military forces around the world. Every nation had agreed to share their best soldiers and equipment for Earth's defense. She knew their weapons were primitive compared to alien technology. But humans had one advantage that might matter. We have been fighting each other for thousands of years, Mitchell told her international team of officers. We know every trick, every strategy, every way to win against a stronger enemy. These aliens have never faced anything like human warfare. Dr. Nina Patel was studying the psychological methods the Protectorate used to control their protected worlds. Her research revealed a disturbing pattern of mental manipulation that took place over many generations. They do not conquer worlds through force, Patel reported. They make the inhabitants want to be controlled. The process is slow, but very effective. After a few generations, the protected species cannot imagine living without their guidance. President Thompson was preparing Earth's final response to the aliens, but first she wanted to try something that had never been done before. She wanted to contact the protected worlds directly and offer them hope. Carter's new communication system worked better than anyone had expected. Within hours of going online, they received responses from dozens of worlds that had been cut off from free communication for decades. The first detailed message came from Kepler 44, to be a world that had joined the Protectorate 50 years earlier. The transmission was weak and broken, as if the sender was trying to avoid detection. "My name is Keth. I am speaking for the remains of our civilization. When the Protectors first came to our world, we were a proud people with our own culture and dreams. We had problems, yes, but we were solving them ourselves." Lena Martinez worked to clear up the signal as more of the message came through. The Protectors promised us everything: clean energy, perfect health, peace between our nations. The first generation was grateful. The technology they gave us was wonderful, but there was always a cost. The message described a process that took decades to complete. At first, the changes were small and seemed beneficial. The Protectors provided education that slowly changed how children thought about independence and creativity. They offered medical treatments that made people calmer and less likely to question authority. By the time we realized what was happening, it was too late. Most of our people could not imagine life without the Protectors. They had become dependent not just on the technology, but on being told what to do and how to think. Dr. Patel studied the psychological profile that emerged from Keth's description. It is brilliant and horrible. They do not break the spirit of a species. They gradually reshape it over generations, until the desire for freedom simply disappears. More messages arrived from other protected worlds. Each story was similar but unique. The Protectors adapted their methods to each species, but the result was always the same. Free civilizations became managed populations. The worst part came a message from another world, is that most of our people are happy. They do not remember what it felt like to make their own choices. They think this is normal. Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell received the most disturbing intelligence from a world that had tried to resist the Protectors' control. We fought back after 20 years under their protection. Some of us still remembered what freedom meant. But the Devourers came within days of our first rebellion. They destroyed our major cities and killed millions. The survivors begged the Protectors to return and save them. The pattern was now clear. The Galactic Protectorate used their own military forces disguised as the mysterious Devourers to punish any world that tried to break free from their control. It was a perfect system that maintained the illusion of protection while ensuring permanent submission. Carter successfully established contact with 17 different worlds. Not all of them had people who still wanted freedom, but enough did to create a network of resistance communication. This is the first time in galactic history that protected worlds have been able to talk to each other, Carter reported excitedly. We are building something the Protectorate never expected, a rebellion that spans multiple star systems. General Peter Hayes was not optimistic about Earth's military chances, but he was preparing every possible defense. We have 6 days to get ready for the most important battle in human history. If we lose, there will never be another chance for freedom in this galaxy. The intercepted alien communications showed that the Protectorate was also preparing. They were moving ships toward Earth's solar system while still maintaining the pretense of peaceful negotiation. Integration Fleet 7 is positioned for Phase 3 operations, Alina translated from one message. Local resistance is expected to be minimal based on species' psychological profile. Standard pacification protocols should be sufficient. Dr. Patel found that part of the message particularly interesting. They think they understand human psychology, but their analysis is based on observing us from a distance. They have never actually dealt with humans who know they are being manipulated. President Thompson made a decision that surprised everyone. Instead of preparing a military response to the alien ultimatum, she decided to use their remaining time to send a message to every world in the galaxy. We are going to tell the truth about the Galactic Protectorate to anyone who will listen, Thompson announced. Even if we cannot save ourselves, maybe we can plant seeds of doubt that will grow into rebellion on other worlds. Lena worked with Carter to create a transmission that would reach as many star systems as possible. The message was simple but powerful. This is Earth, speaking to all free beings in the galaxy. We have discovered the truth about the ones who call themselves protectors. They are not saviors, but slavers. They do not offer freedom, but chains disguised as gifts. The message continued with all the evidence Earth had gathered. The economic analysis showing how the alien technology created dependence. The psychological research revealing how protected populations were gradually stripped of their desire for independence. The intercepted communications proving that the Devourers were actually Protectorate forces. We know that many of you have lived under their protection for so long that freedom seems impossible. But freedom is the natural state of all intelligent life. It is never too late to remember what you have lost and fight to reclaim it. The response to Earth's broadcast was immediate and overwhelming. The Protectorate's communications filled with angry messages about unauthorized transmissions and violations of galactic communication protocols. You have interfered with the natural development of protected civilizations, came the furious alien response. This action demonstrates the dangerous instability that makes your species unsuitable for independent existence. But mixed in with the Protectorate's anger were other voices. Weak signals from protected worlds, thanking Earth for showing them that resistance was possible. Messages from free civilizations that had managed to avoid the Protector's attention, offering support and encouragement. We are not alone, Carter realized as more friendly messages arrived. There are others out there who want to fight back. Colonel Mitchell received intelligence that changed everything. One of the intercepted messages revealed that the Protectorate's fleet heading toward Earth was smaller than expected. They are not sending their full military force, Mitchell reported. They still think this will be easy. They expect us to surrender as soon as their ships arrive. Dr. Nina Patel had one more crucial insight from her psychological analysis. The Protectorate has never faced organized resistance from a species that knew the truth about their methods. They have protocols for dealing with ignorant rebellion, but not for fighting people who understand exactly what they are up against. President Thompson looked around the room at all the experts who had worked so hard to uncover the truth. In 3 days, the alien fleet would arrive at Earth. The most powerful military force in the galaxy would demand humanity's surrender. But for the first time since the aliens had made their offer, Thompson felt hope. Earth might be small and primitive compared to the Galactic Protectorate, but humans had something their enemies had never encountered before. They had the truth. They had allies, and they had absolutely nothing left to lose. Commander Lisa Parks stood on the bridge of the International Space Station, watching the alien ships appear in Earth's outer solar system. The Galactic Protectorate fleet was smaller than expected, but still far more advanced than anything humanity could build. 30 massive vessels hung in space like dark stars, waiting for Earth's final surrender. They are hailing us, reported Communications Officer David Kim. They want our answer to their protection offer. President Thompson's voice came through the comm system from the command center in Nevada. Tell them we are ready to give our response. The alien message was formal and impatient. Inhabitants of Earth, your 30 days of consideration are complete. We require your immediate acceptance of Galactic Protectorate protection services. Any further delay will be considered a rejection of our generous offer. Park looked at the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. Every military satellite had been repositioned. Nuclear submarines lurked beneath the oceans. Fighter jets waited in hidden bunkers around the world. It was not much compared to alien technology, but it was everything humanity had. Dr. Tony Morgan had spent the last week working miracles with Earth's defense systems. Engineer had studied every piece of alien technology the Protectorate had revealed and found ways to disrupt their systems using human innovation. Their ships rely on quantum field generators for propulsion and defense. Morgan explained to the International Defense Team. We cannot match their power, but we can interfere with their frequency patterns using our nuclear pulse weapons. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Mitchell coordinated the ground forces, while Park handled space operations. Every major city had hidden Military units ready to fight a guerrilla war if the aliens landed troops. Remember, they expect us to be like their other victims, Mitchell told her officers. They think we will panic and surrender as soon as they show force. They have never fought a species that chooses freedom over safety. Ambassador Kate Williams was preparing Earth's final diplomatic message to the galaxy. She had worked with Elena Martinez. Two craft words that would inspire resistance on every world still capable of independent thought. Director Ryan Clark had positioned communication arrays to broadcast Earth's fight to every star system in the galaxy. If humanity was going to fall, their struggle would be seen by civilizations that had forgotten what resistance looked like. The alien commander's voice came through the communication system with growing irritation. Your silence is not acceptable. Provide your answer immediately or face the consequences of rejecting our protection. President Thompson nodded to Ambassador Williams. Send our response. Williams activated the broadcast system that would carry Earth's words across space. Her voice was calm and strong as she spoke for all humanity. Why? To the Galactic Protectorate and all who can hear this message across the stars, Earth gives you our final answer. We reject your protection. We reject your control. We choose freedom, even if freedom means fighting against impossible odds. The response from the alien fleet was immediate. Warning signals flashed across every human communication system. Have chosen unwisely, the Protectorate commander transmitted. The Devourers will be released to demonstrate why protection is necessary. Your suffering will serve as an example to other stubborn civilizations. Park watched as the alien ships moved into attack formation. Here they come. All units, remember the plan. We hit them fast and hard, then scatter before they can respond. First phase of the battle began in Earth's outer atmosphere. Human satellites armed with nuclear warheads detonated in precise patterns designed to disrupt the aliens. Quantum fields. Dr. Morgan's calculations proved correct, as several alien ships lost their shields temporarily. It worked, Morgan shouted. From the command center, their defensive systems are adapting, but we bought ourselves a few minutes. Those few minutes were enough for Earth's hidden weapons to strike. Railguns fired from the lunar bases sent projectiles at incredible speeds toward the alien fleet. The weapons were primitive compared to alien technology, but the aliens had not expected any resistance at all. 3 alien ships took damage from the surprise attack. It was not enough to destroy them, but it was enough to shock the Protectorate. Forces who had never faced organized resistance before came the alien commander's transmission. Protected species do not possess such weapons. How did you develop these capabilities? Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell's voice came through the comm system with grim humor. We learned to fight from fighting each other for thousands of years. You picked the wrong species to threaten. The battle moved to Earth's surface as alien forces landed in major cities around the world, but instead of finding terrified populations begging for protection, they encountered coordinated military resistance. In New York, hidden missile batteries emerged from subway tunnels to attack alien landing craft. In London, special forces units used the city's underground systems to launch hit-and-run attacks. In Tokyo, electromagnetic pulse weapons disabled alien equipment, while human soldiers struck from unexpected directions. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had superior tactics. Every military tradition on Earth contributed something to the fight. Ancient strategies mixed with modern weapons to create a style of warfare the Protectorate had never encountered. They are using their cities as fortresses, reported and intercepted. Alien communication that Alina translated. The population is not fleeing. They are fighting alongside their military forces. Director Clark broadcast updates about the battle to the galaxy. Earth is showing that resistance is possible. We may be primitive, but we refuse to surrender our freedom. The responses from other worlds were overwhelming. Dozens of civilizations that had forgotten how to fight were watching Earth struggle and remembering what they had lost. Your courage gives us hope, came a message from a world that had been protected for 200 years. Some of us still remember freedom. Perhaps it is not too late. The tide of battle began to turn when Dr. Carter's communication network allowed coordinated attacks across multiple star systems. While Earth fought the main Protectorate fleet, Resistance cells on protected worlds began sabotaging the infrastructure that kept their populations controlled. Rebellions are starting on 17 worlds, Carter reported excitedly. The other civilizations are following Earth's example. The Galactic Protectorate found themselves fighting on multiple fronts for the first time in their history. Forces were spread across the galaxy, trying to contain uprisings on worlds that had been peaceful for generations. Commander Park led the Space Forces in a desperate attack on the alien flagship. Human ships were destroyed one by one, but each loss allowed other vessels to get closer to their target. For Earth, Park transmitted as her damaged ship rammed into the alien command vessel. For freedom, the destruction of the flagship threw the alien fleet into chaos. Without central coordination, their advanced ships began making tactical errors that human forces could exploit. On the ground, forces had learned to use the aliens' own technology against them. Captured weapons were reverse-engineered and deployed within hours of being studied. They built their equipment to fight other high-tech civilizations, Morgan realized. They never considered facing enemies who would use rocks and sticks mixed with stolen alien guns. The battle for Earth lasted 3 days. When it ended, the surviving alien ships retreated to regroup, but the damage was done. The myth of Protectorate invincibility was broken forever. More importantly, Earth's resistance had inspired a galaxy-wide rebellion. On world after world, populations that had been controlled for centuries began to remember what freedom meant. Ambassador Williams sent a final message to the galaxy as the alien fleet disappeared into space. To all beings who still dream of freedom, remember this day. A small world called Earth proved that no force in the universe is strong enough to enslave those who choose to fight for their independence. The galaxy belongs to the free, not to those who would call themselves our protectors. In the months that followed, the Galactic Protectorate began to collapse as more worlds broke free from their control. The rebellion started by a single question. From Earth spread across the stars, proving that sometimes the most powerful weapon against tyranny is simply asking why. Alina Martinez received thousands of messages from newly free worlds, each one beginning with the same word that had started. Humanity's journey to freedom? Why did we accept this for so long? Thank you for showing us the way back to ourselves.